So on to Halloween 5, which Brandy and I just watched. In my opinion, I think Halloween 5 is not as it's not as good as 4. I think 4 is really special and it's a lot more. It's just better all around with better characters and everything. But in
Yeah.
my opinion, I think they continue the story with Jamie and that's great. And Danielle Harris is still amazing in it, and Donald Pleasance is completely off the walls again, which is amazing.
Very entertaining to watch.
Yeah. Yes, I love when he goes back to his, he's just out of his mind. Like, at the end, he traps Michael in, netting or something, shoots him with a tranquilizer gun, and then starts beating him over the head with a 2x4.
It's probably the
Or
most
when he
iconic.
grabs her, right before that, when he grabs her, and, Michael's coming down the stairs, and he's, talking
He's like,
Michael with her.
come get your little
you
girl.
You want the girl, right? You want...
Oh, he's very abrasive, but I love it. I've said it before and I'll say it again. No matter what way whatever angle Donald Pleasance chooses to play Loomis, it still always just works. I love it. Whether he's calm and collected like in the first movie, or he's just going nuts like in a lot of the other ones, it's still great, and I love it. And he bounces back in a lot of the sequels, so it's great.
And Halloween 5 was also the first one that we got some... I mean, it started to go in the direction of introducing some weird things that weren't explained in the movie. So I think that's a big point of contention with some people in this movie. What did you think? And it's really vague, but I know you were probably confused a little bit. But what did you think about the very unexplained, the tattoo on Michael's wrist, which I actually have in real life, and
that's cool. That's going to be the thumbnail for the discussion,
right? But then also the random guy that was walking around in the boots, the steel boots.
Yeah.
And his official name is the Man in Black. I don't think I mentioned that when we were watching, but he is called the Man in Black. So what was your opinion on them introducing those random things that weren't explained at all in this movie? Did it interest you or just confused?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I was super confused, and I thought by the end of the movie things would be explained, but of course they weren't at all. It's just left on this cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's why I assume the next movie will explain it better. So I'm fine with it. It did confuse me, but it wasn't the type of confusion where it's like, oh my god, that's so confusing and stupid. Sometimes a movie tries to be so complex. Right. Or, for example, the story of Revelations, bringing it back to Resident Evil, always. When something tries to be too complex, it just ends up getting stupid and confusing and dumb, and you just kind of get angry at the confusion. This type of confusion was actually really, a compelling confusion where I wanted to know what happened, more. I was really confused, though, and I thought I like to call him Trent because it's, the guy in the Resident Evil. Only the people that have read the Resident Evil novels will know who I'm talking about. But... the guy in, the trench coat, and he just shows up mysteriously. But obviously this guy is a bad guy because, I mean, I assume he was the one that bailed Michael out at the end and, killed all the cops and everything, so.
Yeah, he broke him out of the jail cell and, killed all the cops. And then, of course, left poor Jamie again all alone. Which,
I know.
And that's how they end the movie. That's pretty messed up. She's just alone, and she's just... but I guess on that, I know you didn't care for it, and I never have cared for the way they dealt with Rachel, 15 minutes into the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was really actually pissed about that because you and I, we were just talking about the fourth one and how good all the characters were. And I think that this one could have been equally as good if she had stayed alive until the end. And what makes the fourth one better than this one? Because this one still has Donald Pleasance, it still has Danielle Harris giving a fucking stellar performance. So it's it still has all the really good, and it has the creepy, Michael moments from his point of view, and it still has all, the good vibes that all the Halloween movies have to make them good. But it didn't have 100% likable. Not that Tina, and we can get more into that when we talk more about, her, but, not that she wasn't likable, but I just feel the fourth one, having Rachel, was just oh, wow, every character in this is likable. And they actually created a teenage character that wasn't just a brainless, annoying, stereotypical Like, she was like
No.
another Lori. She was like another Lori. She was strong and she cared about Jamie, and it was just, I don't know, it was awesome.
Sister. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
she
then for her to just die,
fought Michael, and she. I
yeah.
know. Her actress has said that in interviews before that she like just didn't understand why Michael could never get her in for it, and she fought and she fought and she fought, and then he catches her by surprise and stabs her in the shoulder with scissors. It's like,
Yeah, and that's how
okay,
she dies. That's
and
terrible.
and she also, I remember she said something also like she didn't understand how Rachel, this intelligent whatever, you know, teenage girl character was then just reduced to she was basically naked for the entirety of the time she was in the movie. She got out of the shower, she got her
Oh, yeah.
towel, and she just
Yeah.
seemed like she was still the character, but it was kind of weird to see her like that and then to see her just get killed. And then, like we said, and I've always thought this, if she had survived and died in Tina's place,
Oh, yeah.
Rachel survives and protects Jamie again, and then she dies in Tina's place, sacrificing herself and protecting Jamie. That would have been awesome. That would have been a great way for the character to go out. It would have been earned and rewarded, and like it
And
would
it
have been
seems like,
awesome
it
because she
seems
had
like,
to die at some point. But
exactly, if she had to die anyway, like, it seems like such the obvious choice to have her die at the end and, like, in the place of,
we'd
like,
care
that would have
more
been, exactly.
than Tina dying at the end.
Yeah, I was really like pissed about it. Remember when I said to you when we were watching it that, oh, I don't think she's dead, like she just got stabbed. I thought she was just gonna get attacked and then that was gonna be like the tone for the rest of the movie was gonna be like
Kind
her.
of, yeah.
I was pissed when I found out
Uh,
she died.
yeah. I kind of was kicking myself a little bit for, because you said you didn't think she died, and then I said it like 5 minutes later, like, oh yeah, no, she actually died. I kind of wish I had not said anything, and then maybe you would have spent the rest of the time being like, where the fuck is Rachel?
Yeah, I
And
would
she
have been
just
so
disappears,
pissed.
and then you just see her at the end, and Michael's ass is dead.
Yeah, I mean, again, if they were going to kill her off, that's fine. I mean, either way, it would probably piss me off because she's a really good character. But if you're going to kill somebody off that was a really important character in your previous movie, why didn't you wait till the end? And why didn't they do it in a way that would have, like, made so much sense? She obviously cared a lot about Jamie. If they wanted a big death in the beginning, they almost kind of watered her down and made her, like, the stereotypical slasher girl because she was naked in the beginning and she was, like, not paying attention. And why couldn't
Yeah.
that have been Tina's character? I don't get it. If they wanted to kill right from the get-go. And I know Tina was like
I
sort
know.
of like dumb, not dumb, that sounds bad. She went back and forth, like she really obviously cared about Jamie and got emotionally and was like emotionally attached to her and was worried about her, but she also had that side of her that wanted to party and be a teenager and hang out with her boyfriend and all that.
And
If they
she
wanted that
didn't
kind of
believe
character,
any of the boogeyman crap.
exactly. And if they wanted that kind of character, they could have sort of, I don't know if it would have pissed people off more than just killing her, but they could have sort of morphed Rachel into that. I was talking about this with you. Like, they could have had her still
Yeah.
obviously love Jamie and be the strong character, but still, like, kind of like, I don't want to miss out on my teenage years, so I'm going to go to this one Halloween party tonight. Jamie's safe in the hospital anyway, so I'm going to go. They could have had her rationalize it and still been that type of character in a way, maybe not as obnoxious as Tina, but if they wanted it to go in that direction, I feel like they could have made it work with Rachel being alive. It was really stupid to kill her off that early. And that was like my really only big problem with the whole thing was that how early she died and the way she died. And then Tina got like the good death at the very end, like protecting
Yeah,
Jamie. It's
the
stupid.
triumphant,
Yeah.
sacrifice
I don't get
and
it.
not just, yeah, and that's a big problem. That's probably the biggest problem people have with Halloween 5, to be honest. The people that really like the franchise and whatnot. But I don't think I told you this, but her death was actually supposed to be worse.
Oh wow, really?
Instead of getting stabbed in the shoulder, they said that Ellie Cornell, who plays her, said that she was originally in the script supposed to get the scissors shoved down her throat.
Ew.
And no, and she did not like that at all. Ellie Cornell, she fought it, and she thought it was too undignified for a character like Rachel. So they changed it. But I thought that was interesting. I don't think I told you that they were going to have her go out that way.
It,
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 was interesting. I don't think I told you that. That they were going to have her go out that way.
Yeah, but it may have been more believable that she died because all I remember seeing, and again,
You
I
would
only
have
saw the movie once.
knew it immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have known, but I literally just saw her get stabbed like in the shoulder by a pair of scissors one time, and then like the scene like cut. Maybe it was a couple times, but all I remember is just seeing her bleed from like her shoulder, and I'm like, oh, well, okay, they want Michael. I really seriously thought they were setting up the scene where she was just supposed to get attacked by Michael. She was going to get away and run out of the house and go to Loomis and try to explain to them like what happened. Like I really thought it was the setup for like the whole story, but then she just fucking and like
Yeah.
I also don't like how they didn't show her until the end. I don't know if they wanted it to be like this big reveal, like, oh, we're not going to reveal Rachel till the end, but like the fact that everybody just kind of forgot about her. And I know they had this like story where it was like, oh, she's going to go visit her parents for 2 days. So like, the characters aren't too worried, but like, why wouldn't Jamie be freaking out? Like, I want to see Rachel. Like, I want her to call at least. And like, I don't know. I just wish more of them had been like, whoa, up until, Jamie
You,
sees her at the very end.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like where is she? This seems like that she just disappeared, and
Yeah.
yeah, like they thought she went there,
Yeah.
but yeah, for them not to question it a little, it's kind of weird and shitty.
Yeah.
Or like nobody called the next day, and nobody like they wouldn't have You would think that Jamie would want to like call her or somebody and be like, "Did you make it there okay or whatever?" Or
Yeah.
or they would think
Yeah.
Rachel would call when she got there to let
Yeah.
Jamie know she's fine.
Especially
You would
given the
think they
day is Halloween and
would
they
suspect
all
that.
have a
Exactly.
emotional bad connection with that day. So yeah, and with what's going,
Exactly.
I don't know. I feel like Jamie should have freaked out maybe a little bit more with like, and obviously because she can sense things too through Michael, which is a really cool like concept. But it would have been. I
Yeah.
think didn't she freak out when he did kill Rachel, but she didn't fully like know what was
She
going on or whatever. Like she had one of those spasmy attacks
she
going
did.
and yeah. But I don't know. It
Yeah,
could
she
have been
did.
more. That was my only complaint, though. If
Hmm.
you want to talk about more of the positives, you can ask me like a different question and like divert my attention. But that was my only
Yeah.
problem is her death and just them, everybody kind of just being okay with that. And again, it seems like
Right.
such the obvious. Did anybody ever ask the writer or director, whoever's choice that was? I assume the writer, why that would like it? The obvious choice would have had her survive till the end. I don't get it. Like, did somebody have a problem with the actress? Did they just want to write her? I don't get that like decision. It felt really random and weird because they just had a totally other
Yeah.
character step in her place anyway. So I don't get it.
I know. It's still baffling me. 30 years later, the movie's almost 30 years old.
Wow, that's crazy.
Well, I'm curious how you would think about this. I don't know if you ever thought this, but I know a lot of people when they saw the end of Halloween 4 assumed Jamie was going to be the killer, and even Danielle Harris assumed that. And then they didn't go that way, and they just said they sort of invented like the whole connection between Jamie and Michael.
Mm-hmm.
But how would you have felt if they had went in that direction, like, and Jamie's the killer, or killing with Michael or something? Because a lot of people thought that's what they were going to do based on the ending of 4.
I like the direction they did end up going in. I feel like, making this sweet, adorable girl into, which I guess might have been interesting too. I mean, they did it with Gage in Pet Sematary. So, I mean, making her into a kid, not that I would have like stall it and gotten like, oh my God, it's a kid. You can't do that. I'm totally not one of those people, but I just think her as a character, she's so sweet and good as the good character. I wouldn't have really like to see that. And
I know.
for me personally, I know I haven't seen the third Halloween yet. I know it has nothing to do with Michael, but the only reason I'm mentioning it is because to me, in a Halloween movie, besides that obscure weird one that went in a weird direction, I feel like Michael should always be the killer. He's like the dude of Halloween. And even though she's an important part too, and there's other important characters like Loomis and Laurie and Jamie and Rachel, like all these really important characters, I still feel like he's like the pivotal bad guy or villain, whatever you want to say. So it would have been interesting maybe if she had teamed up with him, that may have been cool. But if she was like the sole killer and he didn't, and Michael just didn't exist anymore and he did die, I think I would have kind of gotten annoyed by that. Even though I like Danielle Harris and I like the character, I just don't think that would have been the right direction to go in. But it may have been interesting to see how they would have done it.
Yeah. And then I guess on Danielle Harris, again, I think she had better acting. I mean, her acting was phenomenal in 4, but I think what they asked her to do, like what they asked a child to do in this movie.
Oh my God, yes.
She's having seizure spasms. She can't speak. She knew. And then all the physical stuff I told you about that they asked of her to do. Like I told you, when Michael's chasing her down in the car, she was actually running away from the moving vehicle. And
Oh my
the guy who
gosh.
played Michael could not see her at one point and had to stop the car. And then she's in the laundry chute, and they're actually stabbing through the laundry chute with a real
Yeah, that
knife. It's
seems
pretty fucked
really.
up. The stuff required her to do in that movie is pretty fucked up.
Yeah, they could have so faked that and still made it look good. They faked a lot of things for actors' safety in movies, and it still turns out fine. So I really don't understand how they were able to use a real knife and stab at a freaking like 12-year-old kid who's like that's kind of ridiculous. But
Yeah,
I mean, obviously
I
everything was
know.
good,
Yeah,
but I just feel like they still could have faked it and it would have been fine.
yeah.
But yeah, she's a really, really good actress. Like there were a lot of scenes in this one. Like the fourth one, obviously I kept going on and on about her acting, but even in this one, I feel like she went even beyond that because she like really had to have a lot of freak out scenes and crying scenes. I always define a good actor if somebody can like scream and cry like very convincingly because I feel like that's a really hard place to like get to. Like even as an actor and somebody that acts all the time or whatever, like I feel like even for people that act all the time, it must be like kind of hard to get yourself to a place of like hysteria and crying and freaking out. And the fact that she just like did it, it's just like wow. Like I always appreciate actors that can do that. And not a lot of kid actors can do that. A lot of the times when you see a kid actor cry in a movie or anything, it'll like cut away from them and then cut back and they'll have tears in their eyes. Like you don't see the tears
I know
actually start to come
exactly.
out. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, like, she
but
was so good that she would, like, squeeze her eyes shut and all these tears would come and she was just freaking out and crying and exhausted. Like, some of her scenes, like, exhausted me just watching them. So I can imagine this, like, 12-year-old girl doing these scenes and then going home at night and being like, dude, like, I'm exhausted. Like, it was like an adult role that they asked her to, like, take on. So that's really awesome that she was able to do it.
I know. Yeah, and I know. I know you said that you ended up liking Billy, her little friend in the
Oh, yeah.
clinic, the one who was
Oh,
stuttering because he was kind of adorable too. And
yeah.
I think besides the whole killing Rachel thing, one of my only other problems with this movie, and again, I'll let you know now. This isn't one of the most popular Halloween movies. Like 4 is generally regarded as the best sequel. 5, not really. There's
People
people
don't
that
like
do
it.
not like 5 for
Right.
their own reasons. But another reason I don't. Well, no, I like the movie and I grew up on it. But one of the other things I don't like about it is I hate that. And I think I was saying it when we were watching it that I was like wishing to have, asshole Brady who cheated on Rachel in 4,
Oh, yeah.
and Kelly, slutty sheriff's daughter who never put pants on. I wanted to see them back based on we got those were well written characters, and you either liked them or hated them, or you really liked them. And then in this one, we got the typical slasher dumbasses for
Yeah,
the most part.
that's
Like
true.
Tina had that in her, and there was some good moments in her, but then her friends were just completely like just annoying and
Airheads.
obnoxious.
Yeah.
And her boyfriend was also named Michael, which was stupid. And then
Yeah, he was like the
uh,
stereotypical jock, like slasher guy
I
character.
know. Thinking about it though, in retrospect, like you never see Rachel with that group of friends, but I always
True.
assume, oh, she's friends with Tina, so she must be friends with them. And it's like, those are your friends, Rachel? What the fuck? How are you hanging out with them? It seems like you
Well, it's
you
like
like hanging
Lori
out
hangs out with
hanging out
Linda,
with a bunch
so
of idiots. I guess,
there's always
but
got to
I
be
don't
like
know.
one smart one in the group. So I feel like
I guess,
Rachel would have been that
yeah, and they
one.
just have shitty taste in
Yeah, yeah,
friends.
yeah. I mean, Tina herself even had some really like
Uh,
obnoxious lines. Like I wish I remembered some of them, but she had some lines where I was like, "Who talks like that?" And like she was so obsessed with her boyfriend. Like, I mean, I get being a teenager and having crushes and being kind of guy crazy. Everybody goes through a phase where they're like wanting to have a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. And I guess that's what they always try to come across in movies like that. It's like teenagers are like girl teenagers are boy crazy and male teenagers are
yeah,
horny, and it's always like the stereotypes of it, which I'm totally fine with, but like Tina seemed like such a smart character and kind of quirky and funny at first, and then when she was just like obsessing over her boyfriend and like just being, I was just like, it's kind of like they were trying to have her straddle like the like characters like Lori and Rachel, but then also like Linda and Annie, so it was kind of confusing, but I mean, and that's why
yeah,
I'm like
yeah,
50-50
yeah.
on if I really did like her. I want to say I liked her more than I disliked her because at least she did have a love and like protective thing over Jamie, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I also don't like that she just replaced Rachel and she was kind of an idiot, so it's kind of like 50-50.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have seen the movie countless times, and I still don't fully know how I feel about it. I think I'm with you. I think I like her more than I dislike her, because people hate her. Like, fans of Halloween hate her on, like, a Busta Rhymes level in Resurrection. That people hate her as
Wow.
much as they hate Busta Rhymes in that movie, and that's hilarious, because she's just not a popular character in the series. I think
Right.
because she's obnoxious half the time, and because, like you said, she replaced Rachel, so automatically people just did not have a good first impression of her for those reasons. But
yeah, that makes sense. So.
I guess to wrap up on this one, as I do with all the sequels, I want to ask you if you think this was a good one, or a great one, or if you didn't like it, or whatever.
Well, I did like it. I wouldn't say I didn't like it, but I don't think it was as strong as the previous two that you even showed me. Like, I would say I like the fourth one the best out of all the sequels, but the second one I liked even more than the fifth one, if that makes sense. But that being said, like, the fifth one still had really good moments. Like, it still had and I love that they did expand on Loomis and, like, Jamie's, like, sort of, like, friendship or
Their
whatever
relationship, their
story.
story.
Their story. Yeah, I like that. So, and like he, again, even though he's like kind of abrasive with her and real in her face and screaming at her a lot, and it's like, Loomis, calm down. It's like you kind of understand at this point he's just so, remember we kept saying like he's like defined in that movie as just being over it, and he so is. And even though it seems like at times he's like kind of being like mean to poor Daniel Harris, like he's just like in her face and grabbing at her and what's going on, you know. And then like when he's like basically using her as bait to taunt Michael, it was kind of like, whoa. But other like
I know.
I mean, but it's still understandable, everything that I could never dislike the character of Loomis, even when he's that crazy. And you just understand, like, why he's doing it. And
It's fun. It's fun, and you do understand why he's doing it. I did also just want to mention, I think I said we were watching it, my favorite scene in the movie is near the end, after Tina gets killed and Loomis is talking to Michael in the woods, and he can't see Michael, but you can see Michael in the, like, way back in the distance.
And he's like listening
in, like,
to
the
him,
fog of the woods, and and in the whole speech that Loomis gives about telling him to go home, and that's where the rage can be stopped and whatever, and I love that scene. I think the writing was really good on that scene, and just how they shot it, seeing Michael way back there in the fog and between the trees.
Yeah. It was like a classic shot, because like he was just in the distance, which I love those Michael shots where he's just there but barely noticeable, and he's, you know. And yeah, I really like that scene too, and I like how they not only, I mean, I already talked about Loomis and Jamie's relationship, but I also like how they show Loomis and Michael's relationship, because they have this weird, unique relationship that Michael doesn't really have with anybody else. Maybe a little bit he has that with Jamie as well, because like she was able to get him to like listen to her for a second when he took off his mask and everything. So I like how it showed the relationship between those three. It's kind of like a triangle of the three most important characters in that movie, were like Michael, Loomis, and Jamie, and I kind of like that whole connection. So that's what makes it really, really strong. But then there are points that make it like weak. So I feel like it wouldn't be my second favorite sequel, but it's definitely not a bad one. Like we haven't gotten to the point yet where I'm like, oh God, Dylan, that was awful. Like it definitely was not awful. Like I would watch it again and I would recommend it.
Oh, we'll get there.
Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. The bad one.
Yeah. But no, yeah. I always liked 5. Again, I grew up with it, and like you said, you probably, just summed it up exactly why I like it so much, and why I like 4 so much, and why I prefer that to be like my canon or whatever.
Yeah.
Is Loomis, Michael, and Jamie. I love that whole dynamic. I think I like Laurie as a character, but I feel like in her 2 movies at the beginning, she was a lot more passive. Like, she fought back and she ran in the first movie, and but she just didn't have the same dynamic that Michael, Loomis, and Jamie have.
Yeah, she didn't really have enough interactions with Loomis to feel it the way you sort of like.
Yeah, barely anything at all.
it would have been cool if Jamie Lee Curtis had come back and they had Danielle Harris still, and the four of them could have been like, and it could have been, instead of a triangle of really important characters,
That
it could
would
have
have
been like
been
a
awesome.
square, and it could have had her and
Yeah.
just seeing how she vibed with them and worked with them, because they are, to me, after seeing all these sequels, and again, I haven't seen every single one in the series, and we're not even done. At least to my knowledge, I don't think we're done with the Daniel Harris, Donald Pleasance like thing yet. But don't say anything because I know we're watching the sixth one tonight. Oh, I don't think I'm supposed to say that because this is supposed to be like a flowing discussion. Anyway, whatever. No, but I think that their story, like Donald Pleasance, Daniel Harris, and Michael's story, is a little bit more compelling than even the whole Laurie, Donald Pleasance, Michael, I guess I should call him his character name, Loomis, like, you know what I'm saying. Just
No, I
because
agree.
there's
Yeah.
more there. There's
Yeah.
more, and there's more, like,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of Laurie's story and connection is just, not that it, I don't want to say this because I love, you know how much I love the first movie, and I even really like the second one a lot.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is just, like, her running around, and it is more, like, it's less emotionally gripping, I guess, to a certain degree. It still has a lot of emotion in it, but it's not as, I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. I just feel like a lot of
That
raw
is.
emotion when it's the Daniel Harris
I
story.
mean, no, I always felt like that too. It's not as like impactful. It's not as,
But
like
still
you said,
really
it
good.
doesn't grab you as much as. Yeah, for sure. But
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Part of me, and maybe it's an unpopular opinion, but part of me really gets annoyed that, everyone loses their mind every time Jamie Lee Curtis comes back to the franchise, what she's doing
Right.
now. But it's Danielle Harris in a mainstream sense. Like,
Mm-hmm.
mainstream audiences does not get the credit she deserves. And I
Yeah,
think Donald Pleasance honestly doesn't either, outside of the first movie.
Yeah, that kind
Everyone
of
loses their
sucks.
shit when Jamie Lee Curtis is back, which I
Yeah.
get, but,
Yeah, it's like I'm torn because I get it to a certain degree. Like, she's become like the iconic scream queen. Like, she was like the first actual like scream queen, if you really think of that,
Yeah.
at least of like the slasher type movies. But
Yeah.
I get that too, because like, to me, for me personally, and this probably is going to be an unpopular opinion, and I really don't care. We say what we want on our discussions, but on our podcast, I should say. I feel like the most important character of the Halloween franchise is Donald Pleasance, or Dr. Loomis, played by Donald Pleasance, because he just, I feel like we were talking about this yesterday, or last night after we finished the movie, I said, I feel like when we get to the point where he's not in them anymore, because I know he passed away and he wasn't able to continue with the series, that's when I feel like they're going to become less impactful for me personally, because I absolutely love him.
I'm not going to say anything. She has not seen it. But,
it's kind of like
no,
when we
I
always
completely
say,
agree.
like, we say, like, Shinji Mikami's, like, the heart and soul of, like, Resident Evil, or like, the soul or whatever.
Yeah.
It's, like, I feel like Donald Pleasance is, like, that for Halloween. Like, he is, like, the biggest deal for me personally in a Halloween movie. And I get the Jamie Lee Curtis hype because she was the main character, and she's, a huge actress now, mainstream actress, and people love her, and I love her too, and I'm actually really excited for this new Halloween, and her being a part of it is going to be really awesome. But to say that she solely gets all the credit for why Halloween was successful, I absolutely do not think that's true. I think, and you were saying this, I don't know if did you say this on the discussion or just with me, because it's definitely worth mentioning again when you said that Halloween's very different from a lot of other slasher movies because it doesn't just have one pivotal main female character like a lot of them usually have, but it has a Donald Pleasance character, which none of them have.
It's
the
always,
Dr. Loomis character is so unique. Yeah.
It's unique to Halloween. It's unique in all the slasher franchises. Because, all the other ones, usually it's just the killer and the final girl, and then there's her friends that get killed before she does.
Yeah.
Not that kind of special relationship or whatever that's kind of weird and kind of messed up. And, I think Loomis cares about Michael, and he's just trying to stop him. Does make it. Yeah.
That's probably what makes it so interesting to watch, because you feel like deep down, as crazy as Loomis can be, and as much as he wants to catch him, and he's yelling at everybody, and he's going crazy, and he's flying off the handle, I feel like deep down, though, he does, to a certain degree, care about Michael, because he was his doctor for so long, and was the only person that really got to know him, and the vibe from him and just knew that he was dangerous. And it's such an interesting thing to really think about. Like, I don't know, like, I really feel like his
Yeah.
whole involvement makes everything. I feel like his whole involvement makes it less of a cliche, stereotypical slasher movie. It makes it more emotionally gripping, I guess, if that makes sense, because he is the doctor character and he has a
Hmm.
lot. And his, like, speeches that he gives, like, even in the very first movie when he says, I saw this kid with the blackest eyes you've ever seen and no soul and blah, blah, blah. And even, and
Yeah.
it reminded me of that when he was talking to Michael when Michael was in the woods, and he has like these like monologues and stuff that he says in the movies, and it's just like, whoa, like he's like, I don't know, he represents like the depth of the movies, I guess, and that's what I absolutely love. So yeah, I had to go on about him for a second. I don't even remember what you asked me. I just Donald Pleasance, I always gotta talk about him, but he's very important,
Oh
I
no,
think, to the series.
he is very important. He's very important, and I guess to end this part with us talking about 5, I will reiterate that yes, the movies are not the same when he is not around. And
Oh,
very soon we will get to those.
I'm sad already. I'm sad that he can't be part of like the new one. Like it's just
I
sad that
know.
they made this new one so long after that he wasn't able to be part of it. Because even if this new one is good and it looks pretty decent and it has Jamie Lee and it has the original guy playing Michael, which is really cool, just not having Dr. Loomis is
Hmm.
gonna be. And I swear when I watch the Rob Zombie ones, I'm probably gonna be critiquing the hell out of whoever plays Loomis because it's just I said it last night and I will say it again. There are just some roles that certain actors were born to play to the point where they become that character so much you can't imagine anybody else playing that role. And it happens a lot with a lot of my favorite characters. I mean, I will say like Fred Gwynn for Judd. It's going to be hard to watch the Pet Cemetery remake and
Yeah.
not see Fred Gwynn in Judd's role because it's like he was Judd. I feel the same exact way about Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis, and I just feel like even if the actor does a decent job in the Rob Zombie remakes, ugh, it's not going to be the same to me. You can't touch greatness. You can't mess with greatness.
I will still say I enjoy it. I think it's a good sequel. I disagree with people that don't think it is, but then again, I'm more invested in Jamie's story and all that. And I know you said you liked it too, which is cool. But I still think nothing will beat the fact that you like Halloween 4, and I'll never stop saying that. Anyways.
Yeah, 4 was the best so far. I want to see if anything will top it, but I doubt it because I feel like we're just gonna. I told you we haven't really fallen yet. I feel like we're climbing up and up, and then we're just gonna fall at some point.
It's gonna fall flat on its face eventually, and
That's what
I'm not gonna warn you. I'm not gonna warn you when it does.
Well,
You'll just have
I'm
to
intrigued.
embrace your impact.
I mean, I don't mind watching bad movies and making fun of them, but it just kind of sucks when it's a series that seems so far like it's really, really good. I mean, 4 was
Yeah.
better than 5, obviously, so we kind of already went down like a not, but like not even because I still would, like, I feel like I'm going to be begging to watch 5 once we get to the really bad ones. Not that 5 was even bad at all, I'm not saying that, but you know what I mean? Like, 5 wasn't as
Yeah.
good as 4,
No,
but
I
I feel
know.
like, they're going to be their own thing, and then we're just going to get really bad. And the Donald Pleasance ones, I feel like are going to be like their own like series, and then it's just going to feel so completely different. That's what even though I know Jamie Lee Curtis ends up coming back, which might be cool and might give it a little more familiarity and nostalgia, but I feel like, again, without him, I'm going to always say this, it's just not going to be the same, at least for me personally. So, we'll see.